it's not too much of a great deck compared to back in the old days where, you know, you see that control warrior would beat freeze mage every single time just due to how heavily favoured it was. But, you know, I'm really happy to see this warrior come back and just to see how it plays on, if he actually does get played.
So we've got Jambre here on the Inner Fire Combo Priest, which is a deck we've seen once already. And what's remarkable about that is that 2 players have brought it. It's not... It's a deck that's skirted around the sort of the successful level of tournament decks, but it's been in play for ages. There's very few cards from the recent expansions in it. It's all a lot of core cards. It's just stuck around because it's a good deck.
That's the thing. It doesn't really matter how much mana your deck costs. It just shows that this Inner Fire Priest can really do the damage.
Yeah,
no
I
pun
mean,
intended.
Yeah, I tweeted out some pics of me playing it earlier today where I had like a turn 7 44-44, which is just disgusting. That shouldn't be possible, right?
As you do, as you do.
Ben Brode, please. Oh, not even Ben Brode anymore. Oh, now I'm sad.
And going into it now.
Going to highlight that Void Ripper in Mysterious's hand, which is a nice piece of tech. It's interesting in the Paladin. I think it's probably more for something like that Corridor Creeper. Allows him to flip the health of the Corridor Creeper, so it becomes a 5-2 instead of a 2-5 for something like push. It's not common, so yeah, you're right. He is playing the mysterious choices.
And I'll be quite curious now to see exactly just overall how this will pan out. And as you know, Mysterious plays 3rd at the last Premiership, so he's going to be feeling quite confident. He's going to want to continue that run, and as you know, he's made every single final. So it shows that this guy, not only is he mysterious in mysterious ways, he makes it to every final, he gets the most wins. He's basically one of the most consistent players in a Premiership in all seasons, and that's why so many people, including Jambre maybe, who's going to have a few issues just due to the fact that it's very hard to read and he's a very unorthodox player.
Yeah, I like this hand from Jambre. At the moment, for me, Jambre looks favoured. He's got that Wild Pyro in hand, which we're going all the way back to the previous time we were talking about the Shudderwock variants versus the Paladin, is going to allow him to generate something like an AoE. He can put down the Wild Pyro, he can put down Power Word, Shield on it. That's going to clear off the Divine Shield and the 2, I'm going to say dudes again, dudes.
Geezers.
2 geezers.
2 geezers on the deck.
Instead, Jambre choosing to hold on to it quite wisely, in my opinion, because there's a lot more value you can get down the line by utilizing that effective AoE. The unpowered Steambot in hand as well. One of the key cards for this variant of Inner Fire. A 0-9. And you don't care about the 0, because when you've doubled its health to 18 and then 36...
Still a barrel of fun, isn't it, then, by then?
Yeah, and then you Inner Fire it, and it's a 36 attack creature. And, you know, if there's not a taunt in the way, good night.
See you later. And, of course, now Jambre is thinking about whether he does want to take out these 4 minions, but he's going to have a little think to see if it is worth playing it so early. And you got to remember, he does have that coin in Mysterious's hands, but I think he's just a little bit worried that he may use level up, but he doesn't actually have it, so wouldn't be too much of a big deal.
Yeah, perfect for Jambre there. Almost too good, he said, channeling's in a football pundit. He's got 3 combo pieces there. Which one do you choose? He's already got a Powered Shield in hand, but the Powered Shield's good because it draws you a card as well. He needs the Inner Fire, he needs the Divine Spirit. Both of those are what the deck runs on. Chooses to go for the Shield. Okay. I like it because it's another thing you can put on the Wild Pyro. It's another AoE generator. It keeps the Wild Pyro alive, and it gets rid of some dudes.
Geezers.
Geezers.
So you say dudes, I'll say geezers.
Okay, we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
You could be the American one, and I'll be the British one. But as I was mentioned before, doesn't need a level up anyway, so it's almost similar. So his hand's looking pretty good, but in Jambre's favour, it's not too bad either.
Yeah, he's got a wealth of stuff he can play there. It's the The issue is, what is the best application at this point? We can put down the Wild Pyro. We can draw a card that's going to get rid of the 2/1/1s. Gets rid of the Divine Shield. Puts the Fungalmancer down to 1 health. He could then use the other Power Word Shield. Draw another card, see what he gets. But it's using a lot of those AoE effects early on with a board that doesn't have many Silver Hand recruits on.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. I don't blame him for making this play.
It's very interesting. Yeah, he's chosen to go with the Circle of Healing first because it doesn't give Mysterious any benefit. And then...
He's already got the Divine Spirit, which is, of course, is part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And he will almost
this.
clear that up, but...
Yeah, I like this. I like playing the Cleric out because it's another almost must-kill target. Mysterious now has to pick which of these two he wants to trade into. Both have 3 health. Both present a significant risk to his deck.
It's a tough decision to make. I'm not going to lie, I hate these decisions. When you have to try and decide which one's not just cost-effective because they're both equally as good in their own right, but it looks like it will take out the Pyromancer anyway. Get a couple of geezers on the board.
Yeah.
See what he can do from here. Of course, he will put that Creeper down because it is 0 mana from earlier.
Yeah, I kind of like this from Mysterious. He's seen one of the Wild Pyromancers come down. He knows that Wild Pyro is pretty much the only AoE that this deck runs. It doesn't have the Dragon package in, so there's no Dusky Boys to come down and clear your clear board. Jambre choosing to go for a slightly greedier play. Not worried too much about the Wild Pyro.
Yeah, he's not too worried about the... I think with Jambre, I think he probably would be a little bit worried about the level up, but...
Yeah.
He seems to be quite content. I think he knows that if he had it, he may have used it by now or would have attempted to use it, but it seems like he's in the comfortable spot. I think he has a rough idea exactly what Mysterious has and just is going to play patiently.
So the level up would only ever fall on the 3 Silver Hand recruits. You can't Hero Power and play it because it's 5 mana.
Yeah.
So that's 9. You have 11 with the Corridor Creeper, 12, 13. It's still fine. He's not in any danger. So I understand why the second Cleric came down. Allows him to dig for more combo pieces. Potentially puts down another one of these must-attack cards. You know, you don't want your opponent to be drawing more cards and digging for more combo pieces. That's the worst thing for you. But to deal with it, you have to throw your own minions in, and you don't want to do that either. You want to be putting them to face.
It wouldn't surprise me now if he does go to face because he kind of needs to at this point. I feel like Mysterious may assume that time is not in his hands because, of course, Jambre does have 2 Divine Spirits already.
Yeah, I like the Void Ripper play here. It's going to flip the 2 Clerics to the point that they're manageable. It doesn't do anything to his own Silver Hand recruits. They still stay as 1/1s. But look at the 2 Elementals. They're now 2 attack. They can just deal with both of Jambre's remaining minions.
Just a simple trade, and just like that. Jambre, absolutely no board control, and Mysterious is in a very good spot right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the Void Ripper. Playing the Veteran after buffs up the attack rather than the effective health from playing the Void Ripper. The risk of that is down comes a Wild Pyromancer.
What I find quite funny as well, as if you remember from the previous series, you had Ben who was literally trying to bait out all the AoEs and everything like that. With I think he had level up literally the entire game and never used it. And Jambre is going to think he's doing the exact same thing, but actually he's not. He actually doesn't have it.
He's locked into the Circle of Healing again. That's going to heal the board for 0 because nothing's damaged, and then it's going to do 1 AoE for 0 mana. So it's fantastic for Jambre. He can then put this Elixir of Life on. It takes the Pyro out of range of its own AoE killing it. He can then heal it. That's interesting. He could, yeah, no, he can't play the Divine Spirit, because if he put the Divine Spirit on, health would go to 4, but then the AoE would take it back down to 3. It would kill off the Void Ripper, but it seems like such a waste of a combo piece.
Yeah, he's just missing a few pieces of the puzzle right now, and Mysterious himself does have that Leroy ready waiting for him.
Okay, so he's elected to go for the heal. The Void Ripper can trade into it, but he's managed to keep hold of both of those Divine Spirits.
He can fill the board again, but he's going to have the same issue as before with the Pyromancer.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mysterious, but Mysterious doesn't actually know that he's only got 2 spells which are Divine Spirits, which of course he's not going to use yet.
I was going to say, I wonder if we see Mysterious trade this this Leroy straight into the Pyromancer. It represents the biggest threat to him building up a stable board. You are throwing away 6 attack? Like, you can see, he's evaluating the, he's like shaking, do I do this, do I not? Yeah, Leroy trading into a wild Pyromancer.
And I think Jambre is going to be loving that, because that could have been potentially part of his lethal later on in the game. And now he hasn't got it. He's going to work a lot harder, and he's going to rely on those Silverhand recruits and that level up when it eventually does come, if it even does in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real mixed bag for Jambre, because, okay, Leroy's out of the picture now. That's 6 burst he doesn't have to worry about. But he's also just lost that means of clearing off Silverhand recruits turn on turn. At least he knows exactly what Mysterious's hand was prior to this draw. That's not too bad. I mean, it's not awful. It's going to allow him to continue to put pressure on face. I'd like to see it go on the Firefly. There we go. Just in case there was a 1-mana AoE somewhere else in Jambre's deck.
Even with the lack of cards, his hero power is definitely keeping him in this game so far. But it looks like he will be taunting up just to, of course...
And then look at this monster.
Mana.
Look at this monster. This is exactly what I was doing this morning.
Good night.
Yeah. You know, great. You've got a full board of 1/1s.
And he's going to have nothing.
I've got a single 36-36. Although, previously I've said this is often the worst, the maul you can get. But no, it's going to give taunt to every single one of those minions. Watch Jambre's face now. There we go. There's the reaction.
Why didn't you just let me win?
Oh, no!
Oh, my.
And there's the perfect counter.
Look at him laughing.
And Mysterious as well.
Literally, one of the perfect cards he could have had.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that literally was. I would have felt like there was a possibility either Mysterious would have been delaying the inevitable or would have just continued on. But that master spell to come in at the perfect moment. Jambre, you saw from his face, he was like, yeah, I've got you, buddy. I've got you.
It was like, okay, right, Jambre's got this. Oh no, top deck. Oh no, Jambre's definitely not got this. Mysterious has got this. Oh no, wait. It was perfect swings. I love that about Hearthstone. It's something I've talked about before. It's like, there's a point at which everything seems to be falling into place, and then one single card, and your whole plan is undone. I love it. That
was a great game as well. It's funny because, like, normally you get some games where with both our hands, we'll be interested to see exactly how they're going to play things out. But actually, instead, they both ran out of steam, and they were just trying to not throw anything, but just trying to do what they can, and as much as they can with so little in terms of their mana count and what they've got. Most of the stuff was pretty useless until towards the end, but yeah, when he got that, that weapon and he turned anything but taunt, I was just like, okay, either he's going to delay the inevitable or maybe something amazing will crop up, which I thought was highly doubtful. But that master spell basically saved us another few minutes of, you know, of his taunt just taking out everything one by one, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't ask for a better top deck. That was just flawless.
Yeah, that I literally cannot think of anything better than that master spell.
That was that.
And the funny thing as well, of course, it draws a card after you silenced everything. It brought out another silence. So just to add sort to injury. So, you know what, why have some silence? We can have more silence.
Let me tell you about the mana costs of Jambre's card.
Okay, go on.
They're all even.
Ooh.
This may be the fabled even warrior.
The one you've spoken about before. This is what I'm the most interested in. I'm a big warrior fan, even though I prefer control warrior as a whole. Obviously not very good in this meta. I'm interested to see how this even warrior pans out overall.
Yeah, so the first thing to say is we have 2 inner rages in there, which is 0 mana. 0 is an even cost, which I don't know if my maths teachers would have enjoyed me saying, but that's how it works. Okay.
Yeah, my teachers were a bit wild about me, considering I actually studied maths at university, and then they'll probably think, well, what on earth happened, Harry? And I'll be like, don't know, mate, my maths is gone now. I did a degree in it, though, that's fine.
So, I've actually never seen this deck played, so I'm really interested to see what Jambre does, because he's the progenitor of it, he's the master of it. This is going to be a masterclass in the extremely rare flower that is even warrior.
Do you feel like Mysterious will be prepared for a deck like this? Now, of course, he has Doomsayers, he has 2 Giants, he has a Reaver as well, and Twilight Drake, so he's actually got some very good cards to start with. But the thing is, though, you know, Jambre's got a Giant of his own. He does have an Execute to kind of delay things a little bit turn by turn. Do you feel like Mysterious will be okay with this matchup?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know whether or not the decks match up well against each other, because again, this is pretty much unheard of. But I will bet money that Mysterious will have done his research on Jambre. He will know about the deck. He will
know what he's like.
Yeah, he will have checked VODs to see whether or not Jambre's ever streamed it before, so he can get tips on it. He knows what it's about. Look at this. Look, that weapon just deals with the Giant straight away. Doesn't even need to worry about Inner Fire Execute. Sorry.
Doesn't even need to use... Yeah, no, you're absolutely spot on. Doesn't even need to execute. And, of course, on top of that, he's got a Giant of his own. And even though he puts another one down, he can... Okay, he's going to have a few... He can still execute it, but it depends if it's worth it.
Yeah, look at that. The top draw of the Bring It On would reduce the cost of all the minions in Mysterious's hand, but it would put Jambre back up to 10 armor, and that 10 armor, if he can find a way to clear off that homunculus, is again enough to not even worry about that Giant. He can just use that really cheap bladed gauntlet to punch it away with no real effect. Instead, I think what we'll see is that Execute come down.
Motto of the story in the last few series, cheap and cheerful, especially Jambre's decks as well. Obviously, you spoke about the Inner Fire Priest, where not too much money is involved. It's like a, I wouldn't say a budget deck, but it's close enough and it's very effective. And of course, this one, definitely no different. Mysterious will, like I said before, probably would have done his research to investigate exactly what kind of shenanigans Jambre is up to. And
Shenanigans
of course,
is right.
Yeah, exactly. And he's obviously up to his old tricks.
Just throws down his own Giant. Okay, if you have an answer, great. Otherwise, you're going to have to trade your own Giant into it.
I don't blame him for leaving it. I think he's waiting for Mysterious to make the first move. Of course, that Reaver's out of the question due to the fact that he's nowhere near that 15 HP mark. But that Twilight Drake wouldn't be a bad shout, considering what could happen.
I wonder.
So, what do you do here if you're Mysterious? Because great, you've got the homunculus down, which is holding up the Giant from Jambre. And you've got your own Giant. Do you put it face, or do you think, okay, he wouldn't have played the Giant unless he had a way of clearing the board?
I think he's just assuming that he's just got to throw minions at the problem, doesn't he? Just literally, not spam, but still got to make sure that it's cost effective. But I feel like with Mysterious, he knows that you could say time is of the essence. So with Mysterious, he knows exactly what he's up against. He may have done his research, like you said. It could be a timing thing. So I think he wants to try and get this game out of the way as soon as possible. And with those 2 Giants and that Twilight Drake, it's actually helped him massively, in my opinion. And when that Reaver comes out, of course, I wouldn't say it spells the end, because I'm not really too familiar with this deck. Because I'm really not.
Which one? The one that only Jambre plays in the world?
Yeah, pretty much.
No one's too familiar with that one. Yeah, I think Mysterious is comfortable putting down this board because he knows it's even, so there's no brawl. Yeah, so Jambre is considering Maybe he switches to the Razor and uses the Execute. Maybe uses the Inner Rage in the Execute, but it looks like he's going to have... Okay, Inner Rage, right. It looks like he's going to have to execute at least the Giant, and... Bothering trading with his face? No. Oh, the finger over the lips there. He actually ran out of time.
That's typical,
but no one saw it, okay?
He's laughing. He knows. He's like, yeah, I took way too long for that. And, yeah, he's probably... It's a shame, really, because Brawls in his deck... Of course, you can't have Brawls in his deck because it's odd.
Yeah.
But it would have made his deck just stupidly good. And that would have taken a mickey a bit. But sadly for him, he will be having to try and find other options. I'm not too sure if he'll have so many issues. I think he will, just due to the fact that when that Reaver comes out, that's when we'll start maybe seeing him struggle a little bit.
So we're looking for... If we're Mysterious, we're looking for the... I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't
yeah.
it? If it was me and I was in Mysterious's position, I'd probably would just try and fill the board just due to the fact that there's only so many executes you could have, or obviously you won't have Shield Slam, of course, but just try and at least do anything like that as much as possible. Because if it was me, because there's so many times where I may have played a deck in tourney play or in ladder and I've not seen before, and if it's extremely unusual, I'll just play standard and just play how I would normally play. If I hold anything back, which I have done in the past, it would basically make me think, oh, I wish I could have done that, I wish I should have just played standard. Sometimes just playing standard will just work out, but right now, just like that, Jambre managed to clear the boards.
Yeah, this is where we see what he's replaced the Brawl with. He used Scourge Lord Garrosh, he used that Inner Rage, and got rid of both of the taunts, got rid of the majority of Mysterious's board, and it allowed him to get the Giant to push 8 to face. And hold on a second, Mysterious suddenly looks like he's in trouble.
So many
Who would have thought it? And he does have a Reaver, so he can get a taunt up on board. But Jambre, is this the same Giant he's had all game?
Yeah, this is the
same one, isn't it?
Yeah, Mysterious elected not to trade into it with his own Giant. Elected to put the 8 damage face. And
so he does at least manage to take out the Drake anyway.
Okay, that's nice. Uses the Warpath to take everything down to 4 health, then uses Garrosh's weapon to put himself down to 11, but at least he has the panic button of the Bring It On.
And he's got 2 Reavers now. But will it even be worth it? I suppose... It's gonna, yeah, you're right. This is really hard. I'm not going to lie. Even Jambre is thinking, what else could he have to stop him? Even if he puts 1 Reaver down.
You could put down 1 Reaver and a Shroom Brewer, potentially. That takes you back up to 12 with the 7 in the way. Selecting to go for both?
I'm actually going to say this now. I feel like Mysterious, in terms of what he's had in his first 10 cards coming in, he's been very lucky to get those Giants and those Reavers.
Yeah, I mean...
It would have ended by now.
Yeah, it would have been a very different story.
Now he's got to try and think of anything else he can just to at least keep him at bay.
So it looks like he may be considering the Bring It On and... Oh, or is he just going to take the risk that there's no double Hellfire in Mysterious's hand?
But even if he uses the first Hellfire, he's going to take himself out unless he finds something else with 1 damage.
Yeah, I mean, well, Jambre will know there's Shroom Brewers. So... And possibly Spellstones as well. But you're right, he can't play 2 Hellfires because the game would be a draw. Well, no, he'd lose after the first one, in fact.
If I'm going to lose, I'm going to take you with me. That's basically his motto going into this. But
yeah, this is amazing from Jambre. I really like the deck. I may build it. I'm going to ask him for the deck list.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to build it as well, actually, and go to ladder as soon as I get back. But it's strange because he's had the 2 Giants, he's had the 2 Reavers, he's had the Drake, taunted as well, and everything he's had, it's just been thrown out the window.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking now, what more can you do against a deck like this?
this is going to go back to all the times we've seen this even Warlock so far. What's happened is they've dropped these big threats. Those big threats have been dealt with by whatever means. Wow. Take himself down to 1. And then double Jambre. Okay. These big threats have been dealt with from the even Warlock, and then they've just got no answers. There's no additional engine.
It's going to be interesting now to see how exactly Jambre's going to play this out next.
Can use the warpath.
Warpaths.
Yeah. Use the warpath to get rid of both of the Jambrers.
Which is fair enough, you know, it's you get something that cost effective is almost like using a flame strike pretty much. And he will
take himself down to 7.
Can't complain really, can you?
This is so swingy.
It is, and of course with that Bethesda as well, you can't obviously with the battle cry, you can't just attack the hero straight away, and Mysterious is on 9 HP now, so it won't really do too much, but he's going to save it anyway. He's going to, just in case Mysterious does pull anything else out of the hat.
Like, for example, a second Dread Infernal.
Yeah, great. Which I think he may do, but of course he won't be using Spellbreaker just yet. He'll probably save that, but at this point, there's nothing to really silence.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's just going to play it for the body. Fair enough.
I think he's realised now that he just wants to end things, really. He's just worried that there could be something else, and of course, Mysterious is now probably thinking, what more could this guy have? What else is he going to do in terms of...
This is it. Okay, so Woe Cleaver comes out. He attacks the 4-attack minion, prays for something that's going to deal with the rest of the board.
Okay, so...
That
but
does
he's got
it.
Hellfire, though, anyway,
Yeah.
so of course...
That's
he's taken that, clearly.
okay, chooses not to use the Hellfire. Down comes the Black Knight, and... yeah, Sun Fury for the win. Okay, so this is the first win we've seen from the even Warlock.
I still find that quite... that's a really interesting deck. That's what I love about the Premiership overall. Just due to the fact you see some decks where, you know, some people may have similar decks but may change some of the tech cards or some of the cards overall, and yet some which are just completely out of the ordinary.
Yes.
Because I've personally not played anything like that myself.
No, I've never seen anything like it, and I know Jambre swears by it. And it was close to finishing off the even Warlock, which, if you believe the rankings, is a top tier tournament deck. Hello Leroy is another player like that. He will bring left field decks and then play them really well so they look strong. You try and build them, they just go wrong.
But for him, it's fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hello Leroy will just literally...
Kat as well, one of the first female players.
Oh, yes.
She kept me out of the Premiership second day. One season, I kept her out. The next season, the first time round, just bought decks I could not get my head round. But I was like, what am I playing against? And it was so difficult to grasp how to get ahead.
So you two were you and Ket were basically doing the switcheroo.
Yeah.
So one time you was in it, and it's like, no, it's my turn this time, and then I'll go on and you can have it this time. So basically, you're going to be in it next time.
Yes.
So, by the look of things, Jambre will be sticking with that even warrior.
Yeah, there's Geosculptor Yip. That was a card that I knew would be in there. There's going to be lots of armor generation cards, and if there's lots of armor generation cards, why wouldn't you put Geosculptor Yip in?
I can understand that.
And also, look at Mysterious's deck. It's the even Shaman.
Okay, so
it's not Shadowwalk.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to assume that it's Shadowwalk. But then, of course, Jambre would now be thinking, well, why would he play Shadowwalk if he knows I've got an even warrior out?
He can't. He knows it's not Shadowwalk just because Jen's gone off right at the start. It's reduced the hero power down to 1 for Mysterious, so he knows it's an even-only deck. And Shadowwalk is 9, so there's he knows what this is. He knows what this is about. This is almost like a zoo deck.
It's a very valid point, and of course with that Sea Giant, would you say that Mysterious's deck would be quite good against Jambre's Even Warrior? Or am I asking
Let me just flip a coin.
way too early?
Yeah.
What I was going to say was what's more favourable, but again,
I'm going to
really
put my neck out and say I think the Even Warrior is favoured here. I like Even Shaman. I played a lot of it last season. That was what got me sort of like up to rank 5, rank 3. But it is a really board-focused deck, and we've already seen from Jambre that a lot of what his deck revolves around is AoE clears. He's got those war parties, he's got Scourge Lord Garrosh's hero power. Yeah, it's rationing out those AoEs is going to be the difficult thing, but as long as he does, and as long as he keeps ahead of Mysterious building a big board, I think the Warrior might be favoured. This is going to bite me. It really will.
Actually, I think you're quite right. Looking at the matchup, I have played this Shaman deck only a few times, but I feel like when it gets to a certain stage, you're like heavily favoured. And considering the taunt cards in this deck, and of course with the Giants as well, and the weapons, I wouldn't be too surprised if Jambre does take this, but it depends how well Mysterious plays his hand at the moment.
Yeah, I like this from Jambre. It's the recognition that the Corpse Taker is a really dangerous card whilst it has Wind Fury, because like you could drop down a pair of Flame Tongue Totems and all of a sudden it's a 7-attack minion that does 14 damage this turn. I mean, I don't know whether or not that's something Mysterious really wants to invest in.
It's very tempting, but at the same time, that 14 damage, if you take Jambre to a certain amount of HP, he may take less risks with his weapon.
Yeah, I prefer this. If you put down both of the Flame Tongues, then the Inner Rage could have just cleared the Corpse Taker off. This way, it can't, and Jambre has to consider hitting it, taking 7 damage to the face, takes himself down to 8.
He had literally no choice. There was no other way to go about things. But again,
great recognition there from Mysterious. I mean, I said it earlier, I would be very surprised if he hasn't done intensive research on exactly this deck.
He clearly has, as you can tell, and Jambre on the back foot, considering how much of an impact it made in that last game. But at least he can, I would say, delay the inevitable, but he knew he had to take that minion out with him. So of course, Mysterious can trade, or he could just literally hex it.
Yep. And the hex means that the Corpse Taker retains the Divine Shield as well.
So he's not going to have a good time.
That's it. That's game over. By putting down the Flame Tongue token, the first Flame Tongue token can trade into the hexed minion, and then the 5-attack Corpse Taker just goes face.
Simple as that. And this is the issue I assumed would happen from the start, and that's the fact that with that Shaman deck, if you do get to a certain point with Even Warrior, at least by then you can survive enough to take things further. But we know what that deck's like. It can catch you out quite early.
Yeah.
Especially with that hand curve as well.
Yeah. It's like I was saying, it's almost like a zoo deck. It makes big boards, and then there's this additional buff aspect with the Flame Tongues or the Dire Wolves. And yeah, fair play to Mysterious. He recognized that Jambre's hand was full of stuff he couldn't play.
I think he didn't really have the best of mulligans, I think, in my opinion. There was a few cards you could see clearly that he would not be able to use until the later stage of the game.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the talking points as well, since Mysterious had, I think, well, even though it's kind of like a zoo deck, you're bound to get a lot of low mana cards anyway. So you can have a good curve anyway, no matter what. It just depends on how good a curve's going to be in terms of what minions or spells he has. But yeah, it's just a shame, but not so not Mysterious. Jambre literally didn't have the best of starts on that game.
So Jambre's just sticking with that with that warrior. He knows he's got to get a win with it. And Mysterious back now to the Paladin. So my predictions being as good as they have been all evening, I'm going to say the Even Warrior is definitely favored here. And the good news is we've got Warpath and we've got Blood Razor in Jambre's hand as AoE, so we might get to see more of this deck.
So this is the question, guys. So Mysterious is up 2-1 at the moment against Jambre, and will we see a third in a row, a third game 5? It all depends on if Jambre can actually win this game, so we'll find out eventually.
So yeah, Mysterious has clearly recognized that what the Even Warrior struggles to deal with is a lot of early game damage. This isn't looking too bad for Jambre so far. That Purifier's Maul is going to be a problem down the line because it's going to soak up one AoE card. It's going to give everything on Mysterious's board a Divine Shield. Does he consider playing a Warpath now?
It's a hard decision, isn't it? It depends how he feels, because of course Jambre does have those 2 Drakes, which means he can keep those on the board for a while. And they will stay alive for a while, considering what's going to be. So it's going to be 8 cards up, 9 when it eventually does. So we can either have a 4-7 or 4-9 Drake, depending on if he does want to coin it out.
I think we're going to see Warpath coin Warpath here. Yeah, there we go.
Don't blame him at all. When you've got that 7-1 with Divine Shield, and of course it will take out that.
It's a nice board play. Yeah.
I don't blame him for doing that, to be honest. I think that was the correct play. Of course, like I mentioned before with the Drakes, they can linger about on the board for a while, but it'll only take out 1 minion at a time, and it's just going to be really inefficient as it plays out later on in the game.
Yeah, and there's no way Mysterious is even thinking about trading. He's just going all face. He doesn't care about your Drakes. Great, you've got a Drake on board. I'm just going to stick another 7 to face, thanks.
Yeah, I'm just going to curve around that Drake. Oh, face, yep, no problem. And of course, Mysterious does have that Divine Favor on board to keep the steam rolling. You know, keep up with the tempo, and just to make sure that he has plenty of resources to keep Jambre on his toes, which he is currently doing at the moment. But he will get rid of a few more cards just to hopefully get that better use. So it's more of a cost-effective Divine Favor.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about with the Purifier's Maul. It's soaked up 1 AoE effect already. That dagger has to come down for, okay, practically no effect. Jambre would have much rather that cleared a board of 1/1s than a board of Divine Shields.
And of course, he will be taking out that Silver Hand recruits because, well, you don't want him using those level ups
yeah, exactly.
at that point, which is perfectly understandable. And he's just waiting just to see what else he can do at the moment.
Well, Mysterious knows, because of the Razor that's equipped, that if they're lost in the jungle and his hero power come down, they're just dead. The Razor's AoE will eat them up. So he needs to possibly think about just hero powering and passing here, putting enough on the board that maybe Jambre has to use that AoE effect slightly less effectively. This is interesting.
Seems like he's just going for it.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows this deck so well that he struggles to heal. Does have many taunt minions, of course, as well. He has a few, but he's only got that Lich King at the moment. But obviously, actually no, sorry, I apologise. It does have the 10 armor spells as well. And speaking of taunt cards, just in the nick of time, basically.
Just in the nick of time, yeah. That gem-studded golem can come down. He'll need to trade the Drake to get rid of Leroy. I don't think he needs to worry about absorbing the Razor, the Razor's AoE on just 2 minions, so he'll probably hold that. He knows there's no burst in the Paladin, so just the golem and the trade should be fine. He says, fine being on 9 health. Look at the focus on the faces of both of these guys. This is like, there's nothing else going on. It's purely on this game.
Not gonna lie, it's an extremely hard choice. of course, with Jambre, it would have hit his face, I can imagine, but due to his HP, he's going to avoid that, just so that he doesn't give any kind of opportunity for Mysterious to grab that lethal.
Yeah. Now with the Vine Cleaver, not only is that 4 damage a turn incoming to something, it's another 2 Silver Hands. This is nice. It's a good pickup for Jambre there. What he can do is go face with the Razor, go face with the Golem, equip the Spiked Shield, get a 5-2 weapon. Or he could just use the 5-2 weapon to break the Razor, set off the AoE, and put 5 into face straight away.
I'm just glad that at least he's got a bit of armor coming into this. Maybe he can make a few more risky plays now that I would say he's in a safer position.
Yeah, again, it goes back to the Paladin just not running any real burst outside of the buffs like level up.
So your prediction could be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's definitely jinxed it, so...
Whoops. It is typical. It Caster's Curse.
Caster's Curse, correct.
As always. But at the moment, still, we obviously will take out the... we'll take out that Taunt on board with him. Get a couple of geezers on board. Make it 4. Why not? Might as well.
Just needs 5 damage from hand, though. He's got that 5 attack weapon. He's on 16 health. If he can somehow summon up an instant 5 damage, that's it, game over. Otherwise, he's going to really struggle to deal with 4 1/1s.
Jambre does have a Lich King still. May use it next turn, depending on what kind of scenario we're coming up with. But a level up would be so great right now, and he hasn't had it at all. Not one or game. Of course, if he does have any in his deck, which I assume he does.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
finally.
I would say not putting it in would be a major misplay.
Yeah, it's kind of like removing your lethal every time. It's like, nah, I don't need it. But the main thing is he's got it now, and when he'll be using it will be another story.
Yeah, if he doesn't use it next turn, I'll be extremely surprised.
So he will use that Lich King anyway.
Yes, so we've got 4 plus, if you... Yeah, this should be enough for lethal, I think. If you play the... Oh, no, hang on, mate. We've only got 9 mana. I was going to say if you play the Fungal Mancer and the level up, that should be enough to get through the Lich King and allow him to put the weapon and a bunch of buff minions to face. But we don't have enough mana. Is the raid leader enough?
I'm just having a look now.
So the 2 elementals go into the Lich King. The weapon can't go into the Lich King because you'd suicide. So you have to put 2 of your...
He's just trying to make as much use as possible before what happens. So it will take him out. But I think it's actually got lethal. It's 4, 8, 12, 16, yeah. Unless he hasn't used his weapon yet. Oh,
yeah, that's perfect lethal.
So, yeah, that was perfect lethal indeed. And that's the one thing I was worried about, is the fact that I wasn't too sure if actually he's already used his weapon that turn. Because I saw 2 recruits come up, and I was like, actually, was that one of his spells he used? Or was that obviously from his weapon? But clearly it wasn't. Yeah. So